Greetings everyone, welcome to Valiant Lifestyle Design. My name is Val and today we are going to be diving into the topic of sexual health, one of the 5 pillars of my lifestyle design program. But first of all, what is sex? Now, people may immediately jump to the conclusion that I am talking specifically about sexual intercourse, when in fact, despite it being part of sex, it certainly is not the entire story about sex. Sex is much more than the sexual act, and the sexual act is actually the grossest manifestation of sexual energy. But what is it? Our libido is our vital force. It is actually the force that drives us to interact with the world, drives us to get out of bed in the morning, drives us towards success, towards achievement, and also towards unhealthy behaviors left unchecked. And this is why we must discuss sexual health. Because interestingly enough, I actually think of sexual health as the shadow side of spirituality, one of the pillars that we've already discussed on this channel. And what's fascinating about sexuality and spirituality is they really are mirrors of one another. If you do not have your sexuality in check, if you do not express it in the correct manner, if it is using you rather than you using it, then you are going to be liable to engage in acts that do you absolutely no good and actually sap you of energy. For a lot of men, this may be pornography. Pornography in the world of today is a severe problem. And whilst I don't specifically have any gripes with the making of pornography, despite, actually I do, the way that the industry treats the women that are in the industry is vile, to say the least, and there are surely many acts of violence committed against some of these women to keep them around and in check, can lead to a overindulgence in acts such as masturbation, which for a man leads to him feeling very depleted, not just on a physical level, but on a spiritually energetic level, because our seed is incredibly important for our health. And if we are just diffusing it in one of the most unhealthy manners that I can possibly think of, what ends up happening is you end up hollow. You end up viewing people as toys for pleasure. It starts to affect your dopamine system. You don't feel as revved up. You don't feel as motivated to go ahead with your life and with work. It causes a plethora of issues, and this is why it is so important for us to understand our sexual energy and express it in the healthy manner that I am about to outline for you, And it's going to be different for everyone. Obviously, everything that I talk about on this channel is never a hard and fast solution for everyone. It's going to take a lot of experimentation to find out what is healthy for you. It is a practical experience. It is not a theoretical experience. You have to find out for yourself, which is a thing that honestly many people are just not willing to do. But I hope whoever's watching this video will be stirred to feel like they want to experience this, want to challenge themselves, and want to find out how to deal with their own internal systems in a manner which is beneficial to them. Unfortunately, in this day and age, we have so many people engaging in toxic sexuality, and when people really understand that that vital force is something that they can use to move themselves through the world in a manner which will greatly benefit them, then I think a lot of people will start to see sexuality very differently. There are many different ways that men can actually learn how to orgasm without ejaculating. Now, I'm not saying that ejaculation in all senses of the word is bad. The act itself is not bad, especially if it's shared with somebody that is a healthy partner or it's done in a healthy manner. Pornography is not one of those. Pornography is not one of those at all. However, it is advisable, especially as men get older, to protect their energy through acts such as semen retention, which might sound ridiculous to some people. However, one amazing benefit from it is that you get an unbelievable amount of energy. However, if you do not do it correctly, it can lead to you actually repressing your sexual energy, which gives you this feeling like you're actually going to explode. If you're going to do semen retention correctly and for long periods of time, then you really need to know how to manage your energy, because if you just sit on that energy, it isn't going anywhere. It is going to cause you a bunch of problems. So I'm not going to discuss it too much in this video, but at later stages I will give you the nitty and gritty about all of these methods that I use myself to keep myself in check. At the moment in my life, I am celibate. That is also a video for another time. I will talk to you a little bit more about that. But ever since I did become celibate, I honestly feel more amazing than I've ever felt in my life. Why? Because I used to have a very unhealthy relationship with my sexuality, and through celibacy I am starting to regain some of my power that I lost to my idolization of women, especially an idolization of pornography. Big problems that I've had throughout my life, and which I will discuss as well in another video. I just wanted to let you know that if your sexuality is not in check, then a lot of other places in your life will start to fall apart, because it really is our life essence. If we do not know how to manage it, then it will manage us, and it can wreak havoc if we do not learn to channel it in the appropriate manners. Many people talk about the act of sexual transmutation, and this is when you learn to take that sexual energy and put it into your creations. A lot of people are like, how is this even possible? Well, it's something that I can for certain teach you, because I have been studying this topic for the last 6 years or so, maybe even longer, not entirely sure, and through trial and error I have come up with a method that works for me. Now that method is very teachable to other people. It is going to present itself in slightly different manners, but the basics are pretty much the same. We're talking about that drive that you have for the sexual act being put into guitar practice, into artistry, into singing, into work, into working out, all of these things, into meditation. That energy can really be used to supercharge a variety of things in your life and take you really to your next level, especially if you are a man. Because let me tell you this, we have a lot of testosterone, us men. Hopefully, there's some men that unfortunately, due to bad diet, terrible exercise regimes, or non-existent exercise regimes, their testosterone has crashed completely. And that is an absolute pity, because testosterone is really what drives men to become such successes in the world, unbelievable manipulators of reality. And optimizing your testosterone is so important, but that testosterone also needs to be expressed. See, unfortunately, as I've said before, it can be expressed in the wrong manners, but that's only if you do not know how to channel your energy correctly, or if you do not have practice in doing so. However, if you are able to sublimate that sexual energy and turn it into fuel for your work, for your creations, you will experience power like you've never had before. The funny thing is, I'm talking about controlling sexual energy, but when I'm talking about controlling sexual energy, it isn't really about controlling, not about caging it. It's not about holding it so that it can't move. It is about channeling it. A very big difference. So I want you to think about an atom. When you think of an atom, what's in the center is your proton and neutron, your neutral and your positive. So think of that as your male structure. Okay, the male structure is sitting in the middle. It isn't caging the negative particles floating around, the female electrons, which are literally the energy that I'm talking about. Okay, we all have male and female inside of us, and that's why I'm talking to you specifically in these terms. Now, the proton sitting in the middle, what happens is that creates a strong masculine structure, but that masculine structure is not containing the electrons. It's simply creating a gravity towards which the electrons are pulled. The electrons are not being contained or restricted in any way, shape, or form. They are still free to move as they choose. If I think about how I was operating before, when I was trying to squash it, like not address the energy, it was a very unsuccessful endeavor because you can't contain that energy. It's very powerful. If you learn how to move that energy or be moved by that energy in the correct fashion, because it is a lot about letting go, and that letting go creates that pull, creates that gravity, creates that control. It's funny, it's a paradox that this act of letting go, which is relinquishing control, is actually what causes this gain of control. It truly is amazing how the world works. We live in an amazing matrix of parody here. But thank you for joining me today. I just wanted to tell you everything that I had on my mind about sexuality and how it can really be used to manifest our highest selves. Join me on the rest of this channel so that we can talk more about this topic in the utmost detail. Have a lovely day.